Wayne, I want to talk about your brother announcing win, lose, or draw. He's leaving Congress, not seeking re-election. The only way he stays in government is to be the president. But before we go there, with the brother of Ron Paul, himself a great activist in liberty, with Wayne Paul, finish up your point about the program to try to make illegals actually Americans and to share in liberty instead of being taught how to be anti-American collectivist.
Well, it's kind of interesting because that idea I had for quite a while, but in talking with the Americans that have a Mexican descendancy, they were the ones that wanted to promote it. They said we would love to find a way to turn around and be able to bring these people on board, make them citizens. But you pointed out, they don't want somebody that's educated, they don't want somebody that's intelligent, and they don't want somebody that understands the Constitution. But you can make their sponsor liable for that individual, so that if he got into trouble, it's the sponsor's responsibility to help out, and you could do this until they learned enough.
And then that would weed out the criminal element.
Absolutely.
Instead, the government leaves it lawless, doesn't enforce anything, and it becomes the Wild Wild West, and they use that as a pretext to take more of our freedoms.
Right, and you then end up with productive citizens.
Good point. Now, going back to your brother, presidential candidate Ron Paul, we had him on a few weeks ago. Can't wait till we have him back up in a few weeks. But he's announced he's retiring from the House after long, great duty. He's either going to the White House or he's going home.
Yeah, and I admire him for his time and effort. I can't believe that he has been so strong for so long. But I'm going to tell you, he's paid his dues, and he deserves to sit back and say who else is going to carry on in his stead. And we need to find people that will run in his district that have similar philosophies and continue his tradition. And I just hope we find somebody that meets those standards.
Well, he's got a good chance of winning the presidency if we believe he can win. He's number one in many polls, number 2 or 3 in the others, winning a lot of the key straw polls, places like New Hampshire. But regardless, he wins by injecting real issues. But, talking to Ron Paul off air a few weeks ago, he sounded really happy. And this is a guy who works 16, 18 hours a day. I don't know how he does it. And I can imagine, I dream about not doing this. I can't imagine being, 75 years old? 70s. How old is he now?
He's 75.
Wow. What did he tell you about wanting to retire if he doesn't win the presidency?
He's never talked to me about it. I think it's just been something that's been playing on his mind. I think he wants to spend more time with his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. He wants to spend some more time with his wife. He wants to relax a little bit and enjoy everything that he's worked so hard for. We kind of pick on him because he's the middle of 5 boys. So, but do you know, last week or so, the congressman played baseball, and he hit a home run. I
know, he's incredible. He's a war horse. Folks, I know how hard it is to think hour after hour every day. It's very exhausting. I get tired just looking at Ron Paul. We'll be right back. Folks, we covered the whole Rupert Murdoch scandal that threatens to bring down his whole empire, with no doubt George Soros scurrying around in the mix, 2 demons fighting each other. But this is the London Guardian. News of the world phone hacking whistleblower found dead. Let me tell you, I told you they got mercs. Death of Sean Hoare, who was first named journalist to allege Andy Coulson knew of hacking, not being treated as suspicious. It's like that woman they found after the kid got killed in L.A., hanging upside down on the balcony with her hands and feet bound, and they said, oh, it's not suspicious. If they ever find me with my, shot in the head 5 times, I didn't do it, folks. Going back to Wayne Paul, brother of Ron Paul, great patriot in his own right. Wayne, we got to get you back up in the near future for a longer interview. But finishing up, yeah, your brother at 75 does so many interviews, reads the bills, always knows the news I bring up, even if it's brand new. He is a Superman. And I'm not just saying that, folks. I'm 37. People think I'm 50. And for years, I worked 18 hours a day. I can't even do it anymore. Sometimes I look at news and get dizzy. I don't know, literally. I'm way past burnout. I'm on my third, fourth wind here. But your brother is just incredible. That's right. He holds the congressional record on the congressional baseball team. Tell folks about that.
Well, this last game that he played in, he hit the ball out of the park. First time in the history that anybody from Congress had ever done that. And the other thing that amazed me about him several years ago, he was in the hospital. He had 2 knees replaced at the same time. 2 weeks later, he's walking from his car to his airplane in Houston to go back to Washington, D.C., and he did it all on his own. I can't comprehend that. You know, I have pain from arthritis. I can't comprehend replacing 2 knees and 2 weeks later doing what he did.
Now, your brother, I've gotten to know him pretty well, not like you, but he is just so focused and meek. But let me tell you, he's a real tough guy at the end of the day. I mean, he is focused. He is, I can see him sometimes late at night live on TV, and you can tell he's exhausted, but he's just powering it out.
Well, I think the amazing thing is his consistency never varying at all. What he said 35 years ago, he says today, and he doesn't need a script to say it. And as long as you're truthful and as long as you're right, you don't need a script or you don't need a monitor like some people do in order to read anything that's going to be publicized. He's straightforward. He's honest. And, you know, our politicians can't handle that.
Well, we know there was chicanery in the last election and some of the primaries, but if there's an overwhelming landslide, they can't stop him. And I'm so glad he is committed all in and is not seeking re-election in the House, all in for this presidential run. We've got to get behind him, Wayne.
600%. Now's the time.
We got 1 minute left, Wayne. Any other little tidbits you'd like to add?
Oh, no, we just, I will try everything in my power to support him in every way, shape, or form that I can do. I admire him for his tenacity. I admire him for his time and effort. He's unequaled as far as I am concerned in terms of anybody sitting up there in Washington, but I happen to be prejudiced.
No, he's unequaled. He is founding father material, and if America doesn't elect him, it's like the reprieve of Nineveh. I mean, if we don't elect Ron Paul, shame on us. And if we don't get 100% behind him to make sure this information gets out at this critical time,
yep.
Like he said with the TSA, if we don't stand up against this, then we deserve it. Wayne Paul, brother of Ron Paul, great American, thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
Alex, it's my pleasure. I'm delighted to do it, and hopefully we can do it again.
Well, we're going to have you on soon during the campaign. God bless Wayne Paul. We'll be back.